Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of Let's Talk About Your Health. Today we have with us the man, Dr. Donald Alcindor of the Meharry Medical College, to talk about the new measles outbreak. Talk to us, Doc.
Yeah, so what we've seen is that measles can be stationary, but we know it can move around fairly quickly. And this is a virus infection, and this virus is looking for people that are unvaccinated. And the people that are unvaccinated are people that have never been vaccinated with measles or exposed to it, and particularly young people that are under the age of 12 months. Because that's when you usually get your first measles vaccine, is at a year old. And again, that's between 12 months to 15 months. So you usually get your first measles shot. And again, this is for all children. But we know that some people have certain types of exemptions that will say they don't want. This is elective to get your child a measles shot. It's not compulsory. And again, the second measles shot, and again, measles vaccination is a 2-shot vaccination. The second one is about 4 to 6 years old. And by 6 years old, all children you would expect would have both of their measles shots and be 97 to 98% protected against measles. And so having one shot, you're about 93% protected. Having 2 shots, you're at 97% protected. Now, you've got people that come from different communities that don't believe in vaccination. The Amish might be one of those groups. Certain religious groups that have religious exemptions to vaccinations, these are also people that are susceptible to measles infection. You also look at rural communities that might distrust the government and don't believe in traditional vaccinations and have stayed away from vaccinations. But as soon as those children go to school, all bets are off. They can meet somebody with measles, or by way of people coming by travel from different countries, such as the Philippines, such as Samoa, other places like that, where measles outbreak is pretty much is common. And they can bring measles with them by interacting with other children or other people.
When you talk about the age range of who is susceptible, tell us about people who have made it 60 years into their lives and had not had it. What is the possibility or the probability that they could be infected?
It's usually rare, and I should say that anybody, any age, is susceptible to measles. Okay. Now, the idea is that if you were born after 1957, more than likely you're not exposed to measles in a way that would protect you. And so there are some adults that have conditions in their lives that would suggest that they need a measles shot. This is referred to as the MMR vaccine for measles. And measles comes with 2 other vaccine viruses, mumps and rubella. So measles, mumps, and rubella. Okay? So you're protected against measles, mumps, and rubella, or the so-called German measles. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
They're all in one shot. All in one shot. And again, that triple shot vaccination has been very safe for a very long time. We're talking about going back to 1968. The same measles vaccine that was used in 1968 is currently in the measles vaccine that we use today. That is the MMR formulation.
The absence of having taken the shot, the vaccination, if you will, as a younger child, how does that child who has never had a vaccination increase the likelihood of his or her schoolmates catching the
so we've seen this in the current spikes in measles infection in the country, meaning that those children, the majority of them, we're talking about greater than 85%, that became infected with measles were unvaccinated children. And again, these are children that may live in rural communities, and parents decided not to vaccinate, or they were not fully vaccinated. But it's not 100% that you're vaccinated and you won't get measles, but it's fairly high. You see what I'm saying? And so I would say to parents, this measles vaccine has been around since the 1960s, 1968. And again, this measles vaccine has a history of being highly effective and again, highly safe. Now, any kind of adverse events associated with measles vaccine is about 1 in 1 million. 1 in 1 million adverse events associated with getting the MMR vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella.
I heard the other day on the news that there have been some fatalities amongst children who have contracted measles. But didn't know
Yeah.
that measles was something that would kill you.
Yeah, so it's widely misconstrued that measles is a benign infection. It can be a life-threatening infection in a certain person, particularly children under the age of 5 years. Again, adolescents that are going, young people that are around 20 years and younger, and also pregnant women and those individuals that are immune compromised. So the HIV patient that is untreated is going to be at greater risk of complications associated with measles, and there are some. And so the first complication is hospitalization. So the idea is about 1 in 7 will be hospitalized with their measles. Okay, then the complications is going to be things like people having pneumonia. Now, having pneumonia as a complication of measles is very rare, but it does occur. And that pneumonia can lead to viral specific pneumonia or secondary bacterial pneumonia that requires treatment. And it also can be life-threatening in a young child. And again, one of the most important complications of measles infection is encephalitis. And there are certain types of encephalitis that are caused by measles that can be lethal, meaning that you have inflammation of the brain that can lead to death in those individuals that have measles. Very rare, but very real.
And when you say inflammation of the brain, you're talking about the central nervous system, which
That is
means
correct.
it affects everything in your body.
That's correct. So pulmonary and neurological complications of measles can be life-threatening.
Absolutely. Is there any assurance that youngsters who have not been vaccinated previously are made more safe by having themselves vaccinated at this point?
Yeah, if you haven't been vaccinated, it's good to become vaccinated, meaning that this is going to be simple. You go down to your local pharmacy, or for that matter, your pediatrician, and your pediatrician will have your vaccination history. But I must say, it is going to be rare if you have children that go to public school, because if you go to public school, you have to have your immunization record up to date. And in that immunization record, measles, mumps, and rubella vaccinations have to be up to date for children to go to public school in the United States.
Well, out in Texas and New Mexico, I'm not sure what the percentage of youngsters who came down with measles who were unvaccinated or were partially vaccinated.
Yeah. So the idea is this. We've seen religious exemptions of vaccinations increase since COVID. And that means there are certain parents that are opting out of vaccinations for whatever reason, and their children are allowed to proceed in school through these exemptions. But again, you have to be careful with this. We've seen exemptions have led to spikes in measles infection around the country for many years. And it's usually among those groups that have decided they don't want to vaccinate, and you have, in fact, children that are unvaccinated at home. And then you have a person that's in that community that goes and visits a place where measles exists that are unvaccinated and bring the measles back to that community. And we've seen that happen many times in Ohio, in Philadelphia, in Rockland, New York, and in Brooklyn, New York. And again, among Hasidic Jews and the Amish community and other folks that have decided that vaccinations are not for them. And again, in churches where you have faith healing groups that don't believe in vaccinations, this is where you see spikes in measles infection. And again, measles is considered the most contagious infectious disease on the planet.
Wow. Of late, I have been hearing more and more about pneumococcal pneumonia. Talk to us a little bit about old
Yeah,
people like me having
yeah.
the need to get a pneumonia vaccination.
So we are well aware of bacterial pneumonia, pneumococcal pneumonia. We have partnerships with Walgreens and Kroger through our Tennessee SEAL program. And what we do is go out to living assisted facilities throughout Nashville and the surrounding areas to specifically vaccinate that community that's older. And when I say that, I'm talking about 65 years and older, because they are highly susceptible to pneumococcal pneumonia. And the idea is that this pneumonia can be life threatening. And of course, we've seen hospitalizations. And again, when it gets into a community and people are interacting with each other, it can spread quite easily and cause widespread infection. And so immunization is the way, it's the preventable way to deal with pneumococcal pneumonia. And again, this is a pneumonia that can put you in the hospital and put your life at risk. And so vaccination is key.
The the age group that I speak of are people 65 and over, who are some are reluctant to take it, including me. But I have been convinced of late that I need to get it.
Yes.
The not the availability, but the probability of infection is enhanced by what?
So it's enhanced by poor health to start with. So if you have interstitial lung disease, if you've been smoking 3 packs of cigarettes for 50 years, for 30 years, if you have overall poor health, you know what I'm saying? Heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease. You see what I'm saying? Any kind of chronic comorbidities that includes things like hypertension, diabetes, and all of those things. You add to it a virus infection to a person whose immune system is 65 or 75, you're looking at potential serious situations. And of course, it starts with a hospitalization that you don't want. And of course, if that hospitalization doesn't really help and that pneumonia is very difficult to manage, then you're looking at putting a person on ECMO or a ventilator, and we know what happens with that. And the idea is that it's an escalating series of events that's negative for that person that have underlying chronic comorbidities on top of having a viral infection that can be life-threatening.
That's a lot to unpack for a lot of us.
Yeah.
The As you advance in age, the probability of you
Yes.
having comorbidities that are giving you, making you
Yeah.
weaker, only make you weak enough.
Of course.
As you get weaker, you're more susceptible to the pneumococcal
No question.
virus.
No question. Hmm.
So, if you got one thing you'd like to tell everybody about this need for measles vaccination and pneumonia vaccination, tell us what it would be.
So it would be, if you think that you might not be up to date on your measles vaccination, you should consult your primary care physician. And if so, you should get the measles vaccine as an adult. If you have children that are a year or older, You should, if they haven't been vaccinated through the pediatrician, then you should consider vaccinating those children. If you come in contact with a person that you know has measles on the other side of the door, you should try your best to quarantine that individual for about 2 to 3 weeks.
Ooh.
And the reason being is that this individual is highly infectious up until at least 14 days. And of course, what you want to do is maybe give some more time after that, before letting that person back into the general population. Again, you're looking at supportive care for that individual once they are infected. A vaccine will not help them usually once they're infected. Supportive care in the form of liquids and ibuprofen or Tylenol for pain is something that you can do as well. So I would say if you're an adult, see your primary care physician, talk about your measles vaccination status, discuss it, and you could come to what I would call shared clinical decision making with your primary care physician to decide whether getting an MMR vaccine is right for you. And I wanted to say something that we're having at Meharry Medical College, very important. We are having our Cancer Survivor Summit at Meharry on April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You will have to register. This is going to be a big event. We are going to we're going to have expert commentary from speakers on 6 of the different cancers, including cancer associated with alcohol abuse as well. So get ready to register for this event. We'll have the NFL alumni there. We hope to have other vendors that will include the mobile mammogram unit, and the possibility of getting the dental unit is something that we're working on right now. But this is a Cancer Survivor Summit. We plan to talk about prostate, breast, colorectal, lung, and cervical cancer, along with pancreatic cancer and cancer associated with alcohol abuse. Again, that's Meharry Medical College at the Cal Turner Family Center on April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Be there or be square.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 26th of April.
That's right. And we're looking for cancer survivors to be there in strong numbers. It is free, of course.
All right. Well, we still have to get set up to go to Lebanon, Tennessee, and do the same thing you're doing.
Absolutely.
Take you to the stomping grounds, as my mother used to say.
Yeah.
God bless my brother. Go ahead.
What we need to do is get together with you and the contact person on the ground from Lebanon, Tennessee, and have a conversation in terms of what the planning will be, who will be there, what kind of vendors you want to be there, what kind of vaccines you need, and so forth. So we get together, talk about it, plan it, and come to the right date that we all agree on and make it happen.
Well, we'll make it happen for sure.
Yeah.
God bless and keep, Doc. Thank you for the information, and we will see you in Wilson County as soon as possible. Have a great day.
That's for sure. You too. Thanks a lot for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Doc, you...